G'day guys, welcome back to All Will Fall, where we are very, very close to losing our entire population and this settlement. We did lose about half of the amount of people that we had in the previous episode, although we've managed to build up a little bit more in numbers. We've turned the water situation around, which was the primary cause of death. It's a mass dehydration event in the previous episode, but we are staring down the barrel of a starvation event if we're not too careful. So we've got, you know, some brand new mushroom farms going here, and I'm hoping that that's going to be enough to turn things around, although who knows if that's going to actually happen. Because this is dependent on us getting, I believe it's wood and water, right? So, yeah, definitely wood and water. So, we've got all of that coming in, and I'm really hoping that, you know, we should start seeing the numbers sort of turn slightly positive, you would hope. But anyway, let's continue on. Research is still trudging along. We're trying to get that bar, which we failed to build in the previous episode. That's okay. We can always build it, you know, a bit later. Better late than never, right? As they say. And yeah, we're just trying to gather up all other bits and pieces here. I probably do need to just keep a hawk eye on, you know, our wood gathering efforts, because, you know, if we run out of wood, then we are going to be in a really, really bad spot when it comes to, you know, producing our food. We need that wood to produce those mushrooms. So, I'm sort of having a think here, but is there a way we can perhaps maybe speed up the gathering of wood? Perhaps maybe we could, you know, bring people down under this platform and perhaps maybe get them gathering wood by hand. I don't have people in the gathering hut, or do I? Yeah, no one's in the gathering hut anyway, so, you know, people are all hands on deck trying to, you know, get ourselves fed right now. So perhaps what we could do is we could think about getting people in to deliver that wood when we've got, like, more settlers coming in. So now's probably not the best time. One thing that I could adjust, though, is perhaps maybe the location of our crane over here. So let's go ahead and do that, in fact, because there's a lot of junk to be had over here, and we definitely don't want to miss out on any of that. So I think I should be able to just simply reposition that, and I hate to say it, but perhaps maybe we can just use a little bit of our wood to extend this way. Or, better yet, maybe I can expend some metal, because we're not so desperate for wood. Sorry, for metal right now. But, we are desperate for wood, obviously. So, maybe we do something along those lines, right? And then that should save on the wood, but still allow us to gather some of this junk. So I think that looks good, although people are saying that they don't have access to get here. Oh yeah, I see what's going on. That's kind of a problem, but that's okay. It's something that we can definitely solve. So again, let's just do metal, because we can. And that should resolve the problem right there. So hopefully we continue to get the junk. We've got a little bit more wood going on down there, and I might actually get our boats to prioritize on that. Therefore, we can leave our crane to do its thing on this side. Considering the amount of wood, I'm also considering whether or not it might be a good idea for us to simply get ourselves a second wood crane. And as you guys have seen, you know, it's not too difficult for us to, you know, shift around workers, and we don't have to have absolutely every crane working, right? It really just depends on the resources that are at hand. I don't know. I don't know if that's excessive or not. Maybe it is, because we don't even have the people to man it for now. So let's not worry about it just yet. Another day, another hungry bunch of people. So still, things have not turned around exactly. I'm just trying to think of whether or not there's a blockage with the delivery of wood. There's storage, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'm just trying to look for storage. Yeah, here. So this will cost like 10 junk. But I don't think this allows us to have you know, actual deliveries of certain amounts of resources to a specific location. I get the feeling that that might actually be available if we got something like the large storage depot. Is it a depot? I don't know what it's called exactly. Do we even have access to anything like that? I recall seeing something along those lines. There's the food warehouse, and you can assign a workforce to it. Yeah, okay, so workers will move food from lower to higher priority storage. Yeah, so you can then prioritize storage, but is there anything that would do it for, like, wood and stuff? It doesn't look like it, right? Yeah, I don't think so. Metal smelters, metal smelters. Yeah, okay. This is an electric one. Hang on. So this produces 16 metal, this one produces 14, but they're both polluters though. I guess one is just reliant on electricity, so if we've built up a bigger grid, it would make sense to go for the electric one, for the hit of 2 metal. Yeah, I mean, look, we're not desperate for metal right now, are we? So, let's leave that alone. Oh yeah, people are getting hungry. I bet you all the guys who are working in the mushroom farms are just eating on the job to try and get their food. No food in storage. Yep, yep. I mean, I get the message, guys. I get it. Alright, let's not speed things up too much, because what I might try to do as well is I might just look around underneath some of the buildings to see if there's perhaps any food that we may have missed that we could possibly gather to alleviate a little bit of our situation currently. Another thing that I could possibly do is take the sailors from either our junk boat to just put them into the fishing boat, or maybe even, you know, take it from the wood boat and do that. But our wood production isn't very high, so that makes me a little bit nervous as well. And yeah, in terms of events, I'm not exactly interested in covering off any events right now, because we barely have anything to, you know, resolve events with. There's more junk over here, which I could try to go for if I had the ability to do yeah, what's possible is maybe I could take a couple of people off of our junk collectors. I need engineers, though, to do that. I'll tell you what. Oh no, we don't have the engineers in there. Yeah, research on the bar is on hold. So, do we have engineers? Yeah, we've got engineers working in here. I think I can steal one engineer from there. And I can steal one engineer from here. And we can then shift those workers into this spot here. Provided we can build a little bit to accommodate for the crane. I think we should be able to do that. Maybe I can even steal like a few pieces of wood here to make that happen. Yeah, I'm sort of slowing things right down, guys, just in case, you know, I'm missing anything, because I feel like perhaps maybe there were a few things that I maybe dropped the ball on. I mean, I definitely dropped the ball on keeping people alive. So there is that, but I feel like I could have kept a hawk eye on like junk production, especially with all of our cranes operating left, right, and center. But yeah, something like this, we should be able to get those 2 engineers in, and let's try to get a bit more junk that way. And, you know, if we're thinking of doing that, then, you know, alternatively, you could argue to, you know, get wood collecting going as well through the use of cranes. But anyway, we should be able to get this. It is 75% though. That's not great, is it? Perhaps maybe building underneath it would be better. We could make that happen. I don't think that's impossible. And we've already got the ladder going down, so I reckon we can make this happen. So just do that. Oh, okay. So people can't get to their workplace though. That solves that, I think. So this should be operating at full capacity, hopefully. Coming back to our resources. Oh my goodness. I am so happy right now to see some green numbers on our food production. Water is looking, you know, a little bit worrying because it's now gone into the red again. And wood is dipping as well. So, gotta watch all of that. But perhaps maybe it's because it's nighttime, or coming closer to nighttime. We also did take one of our engineers off of the junk to water towers, so that could be the reason why we're seeing a drop with the water. Okay, word spreads. We should take people in. But what I might do is I might wait a little bit until morning before we even do that. I think we should have enough time for that. Okay, so it's almost morning. I will take the 4 people. And I sort of did that because I think people have a tendency of consuming things at night. So I just wanted to let one night sort of pass before accepting these guys. Housing is not going to be a problem. Yeah, I was immediately going into house building mode there, but since the amount of deaths that we had in the previous episode, that's probably not going to be a problem for at least a little bit more. So, that's probably going to call for more food. So I think the immediate priority is just getting just a tad more food going. Man, yeah, let's do something like that. So I was banking on being able to sort of stack a lot more stuff on the Stink Tower, but perhaps maybe what I need to do is just give this tower a little bit more metal to support maybe the central sections. We don't need to rush into that because we managed to place this down right in the corner. I sure wouldn't want to be the person who has to work in there, but anyway. Desperate measures right now. So once that's built, we should be able to throw a couple more people in. Got a couple more engineers, which I can throw in to a workplace immediately. I might throw one in there. And I could put one worker in there. I think we're looking decent. Try to get that junk production up. Actually, no. I might take that worker off and place them in here instead. So we're trying to maintain our water still. Yeah, so that was a huge drop of water. We're still not able to feed absolutely everyone right away. You know what? I may have made the wrong decision on waiting an entire day to pick up those people, because perhaps maybe folks actually eat in the morning. But anyway, that's okay. We needed the people regardless, so let's throw a couple more engineers in there. Let's continue to produce as much food as possible. Again, let's keep an eye out on how our cranes are doing. They seem to be still operating fully. Can I just move that? Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got access to a couple of piles there. These guys are still working away, that's good. But we might run out of junk soon, and therefore we might need to pull the two guys off of here and get them doing other stuff. Because yeah, let's not forget there's plenty of workspaces here to gather wood and to gather more junk. Water production is dipping again. Goodness, it never ends, does it? There is research to do as well. I'm just trying to double check on what this is going to consume. So it is going to consume some more wood. Can we afford that? Maybe not in the current climate. Let me hover over all of these just to see if maybe some of these red numbers are misleading. No, they're not misleading. Consumption is looking pretty bad on water. What about food? Okay, looking alright. So food has turned around, but water has become a bit of a problem. So both of the... Actually, maybe I've been pulling off some people from the fuel makers instead of the junk tower. I could probably... I'm just trying to think here. I could possibly make another one of these and divert some of our wood boiler guys into another junk tower. It could be beneficial. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to give the tower just a little bit more strength. Let's do something like that, and then, yeah, I've got metal. So, let's just add a little bit more, like so. Can that now support this? Yes, it can. So, I will just move this right away. And the idea is that should make some space for one of these, but I need 30 junk for that. It's raining now, so we should be collecting some water thanks to that. I don't know if I should really be relying on that too much, but there you go. Just make sure that you guys are working. You guys can come out. And yeah, all of our resources are probably going to reset. So every time there's a storm, things become a little bit problematic for us. Let's throw the 2 engineers in here just to... You know, it's not really going to give us like heaps and heaps of the resource that we're after, but it'll put a dent in it, right? Like, so we're not going to be as desperate. Okay. Yeah, you know what, guys? I'm getting the feeling that the cranes are, you know, super effective at gathering stuff. But then as soon as a storm rolls through, they halt completely and things become, like, really, really dire and problematic. So, let's get one of these in. I was sort of just thinking on that, and perhaps maybe the solution is that we should be building more cranes. Having the majority of the workforce in the cranes just, you know, collecting stuff, and then as soon as a storm rolls through, we pull everyone out and we get them working in some of these catchers, you know, where they can still gather some resources during the storm, although, you know, a lot slower, obviously. Yeah, even the boats stop doing stuff. They're idling. So, I don't know. Like, at situations like this, maybe it is a good idea for us to pull these guys out. Are the fishies here? Maybe even the fishies are gone. I was sort of thinking maybe I could just, like, pull the sailors off of all of the boats and just focus on, like, shifting them to the fishing boats instead, but... Anyway, we've got 4 sailors here. Let's just drop them in. And we'll drop them into there, and... let's drop the other 2 in here. Oh no, this has to be workers. Alright, did not realize that. I could drop them temporarily into the gathering hut, although they probably don't have anything to do in there. yeah, we take engineers off. Put them into... We could put them in here. And maybe I can pull one sailor off and just drop them in there. At least for the time being. So yeah, wood production has dropped almost completely. Fallen off a cliff, really. And then that in turn is going to impact both water and food production. Let's just hang on for a second here. Okay, cool. A lot of resources have reappeared, which means that, again, we're going to have to shift our workforce entirely. Ah, this is a wood one. My bad. So... let's put you out of the way for a second. And let's shift this one over here. That looks good. We get our engineers back. Now, what else can we try to gather? Okay, we've got tons of wood out here. A bit of fish out there. There's more junk down this way. That's going to be easy for us to set up. Anything out this way? No. Okay. So let's move the crane. Move this like so. Yeah, just needing to make sure that people can still get into that workplace. I need a couple more engineers now, so let's pull our engineers off of here. Go for the junk. And those sailors, well, I regret to say that we're going to need all of our sailors back. So, question is, what do we want to gather? I suppose we do need a wood gathering boat, because this wood is going to be a little bit difficult to try and gather by crane, I feel. And perhaps maybe considering the food situation, maybe we get our other sailors working on fish. Might not be a bad idea. I'm just trying to look for where our sailors are at. Here we go. So, fishing boat. Bam. Alright. Let's do that one. Yeah, I mean, they're all a priority, to be honest. Okay, so let's see how that goes. People are still resting, but they'll have plenty of work to do tomorrow. Watch them demolish the food and the water. A sailing trader. No, we can't really do anything with the sailing trader right now. No one's around to build this junk to water tower, though. People are waiting for some of that wood to come in. Yeah, so as soon as this is ready, I think what I'll do is I'll actually get the folks in the wood boilers to just move across. Just trying to see how many wood boilers we actually have. Yeah, we've got a couple. So if I remove my workers from one of them, and I just say force prioritize building of this tower. Brilliant. Let's get a couple of workers in there. And yeah, may as well get one of our workers out of there into the junk tower, because the junk tower should be a lot more efficient provided we've got junk coming in, right? So that should alleviate the amount of wood that we're using in the wood boiler, and we should be able to then use that for making fuel and making more food. Word spreads. Brilliant. Am I excited about it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about these guys coming in. I mean, we'll welcome everyone. Let's just take a look at the workforce, though. So we've got one engineer, a couple of workers. Let's drop people in immediately. So workers in here. I wish we had, like, at least, like, 2 engineers or 2 fishermen, because then we can get, like, one of the boats working efficiently or a crane working efficiently. But speaking of cranes, maybe that's what we should do. I mean, maybe there's a way for us to squeeze this crane in right there. Try and get, like, wood in, like, super fast. I mean, does that work? I mean, I don't know. Can people actually get into the work site? Maybe. Maybe they can. I don't see any problems. So, yeah. Why don't we get, like, at least the one engineer working in there? So 50% capacity, but that's okay. We've got a boat working on all of that wood as well. So, let's continue. Perhaps, maybe what I could do is I could get the boat to work on prioritizing all of this stuff out here. Okay, we're still in it, guys. We're hanging on, hanging on. Still by a thread. So we're out of water, though. And this is what happened last time, right? Like, we didn't have enough water for everyone. So I'm just hoping that we'll actually see water tick up a little bit thanks to the amount of junk that we've got coming in. Fuel. Okay. Fuel production seems to be going a little slow. Though we do have materials coming in. And we do have materials coming in here to produce water for us. I don't know if we should go all hands on deck to try and get more water somehow. Okay. I'm just going to take a look at our research options to see if there's any other ways we can try to turn things around. The thing that I sort of thought about after the previous episode was that it seems like it's a lot easier to do stuff if you follow along with green tech. Because, you know, for the most part, the sun is always out, the wind is always blowing, and it's easy to make, you know, electricity that way. This might not be a bad idea. Fuel gathering boats. It's going to consume quite a lot of junk, but I think what we could do is we could turn the tide, considering that's the one resource that I don't exactly gather every time it appears. It doesn't always appear in the ocean, but if we can, you know, make a play for it, that would essentially top up the amount of fuel that we have to produce water, and we wouldn't be so reliant on the, you know, wood and junk to fuel makers. Maybe that could be the answer. Yeah, I think we're going to have another dehydration event here, guys. I get the feeling. If we do lose people, I just hope that it's not going to be too many people. Yeah, we're already getting dehydrated people. So, plenty of food coming in. Look at that. So, maybe what we could do is we could divert a couple of guys into the water boiler. I was sort of initially thinking maybe, you know, having the junk towers making water would sort of help us with the efforts to produce more. But it hasn't seemed to help. I don't know why that's the case. Is it? Okay. No. I realize what's just happened. Another storm has come through, preventing us from being able to gather anything from any of our cranes. So our cranes are all useless now. Let's gather up our workforce and shift everyone around. At the very least, we'll get a couple of engineers in there. I'm reluctant to make more of the wood catchers because we need to spend wood and junk to do that. I mean, arguably, I need to spend some wood to get people to traverse this area. Might not be a bad idea to try and get people working on some of this stuff. Okay, let's load up on the gathering huts. So a couple of people dehydrating. 3. I think that's probably going to climb. Okay, some people are actually coming in here, working on all of that. But we need to shift people around again. I don't know if it's actually worth shifting people around. By the time the storm is finished, and I've just shifted around people to do certain types of work, it's already time to go back to the cranes. If you catch my drift, so... The sailors are still doing their thing. Prioritize food. There's not a lot of that food, is there? Oh, there's a couple. Interestingly, there is another sea level drop. Okay. So, need folks shifted around again. Let's do this. So at least we need 4 in cranes. Sort of thinking about whether or not we can pull from here. And just simply use junk and wood to make water. Maybe these guys can work on other stuff. And that will in turn free up a few more people from here as well. You know, these buildings don't produce as much water, but at least there are less steps required before the water is produced. Maybe that could be the answer. I'm just trying all sorts of different things here. Try and turn things around. Both junk and wood are a little low. Okay, how many people do we have to work? Got 4 engineers. Yeah, we can drop in engineers in here. That's fine. Apparently, we're also out of power. We're out of everything. So 4 people dehydrating. I mean, I guess I can take that hit. Water is climbing a little bit. Can I get rid of that? Okay, people are working in a flood zone, apparently. I don't know how they're actually getting there. Ah, through here. Very interesting. Okay. I could maybe give them a pathway to get to some of this wood. Maybe I could even give some people a pathway to get to all of this junk down here as well. Maybe. We'll watch that and see how that goes. Oh, okay, we've got 6 people now. Okay. Not great. I don't know when this gets, you know, deconstructed. But I was sort of thinking I could perhaps maybe divert the resources to build a different type of crane. Like, you know, I could get a wood crane and start gathering all of that. Or is it better to do that with one of these? If I deconstruct that... get a little bit of that back. Seven people. Oh, okay, there we go. 7 people. We took a hit. 7 people died. Bloody hell. I mean, that's better than like half the population though. And we still have plenty of people dehydrating. So food is looking alright. Wooden junk production... slightly climbing. Let's take our engineer out of there. I think all of our engineers from there. I just want to see when these things get deconstructed because I sort of need those resources. And I want to try and divert some of those resources around. So I just needed to check on these workplaces here and make sure that people are actually working. Got a couple of missing people from here. I don't know if that's going to impact our food production and consumption. It does say we have greater production though. Still, these things have not been deconstructed just yet. I don't know why. Might force priority and see what happens. Unless I need the demolition team working on it. Is that a thing? More dehydrating citizens. Oh, Lord. Just trying to think of our greatest resource right now, which is food. I mean, if we got food to fuel, we would then use that fuel to make water. This consumes junk as well, though, so it's not the easiest thing. But then food might become a problem later on. And we need to research it as well. That takes a couple of our researchers off. Or a couple of our engineers, rather. I could switch to it. Let's drop our engineers in there. Maybe it could be alright. We may as well try something. Word spreads. Sure, we'll take everyone, but some of you are probably going to die anyway. So, I'm gonna drop one person into the demolition hut. Just to see if that's the reason why we can't deconstruct any of this stuff. I think the crane got deconstructed, which is good. Which means I should be able to get myself another crane, hopefully, out this way. So, let's see if we can go ahead and do that. Wood crane. So that's a little bit too high, apparently. So if we do it here, that should be good. And since we've got demolition going, we may as well get them working on these. Okay, that progressed very quickly. I'm sort of hoping that that's going to be the answer to all of our problems. People gonna be thirsty today. I do have a couple of sailors. And it might not be a bad idea to get these sailors into one of the boats. I'm not entirely sure which one. Maybe the junk boat. There's still some fish out there, which means our fishing boat should still be effective. There's another one just over there. I'm surprised that we still haven't had people gathering any of this stuff. Okay, storm is coming around, and as soon as this stuff disappears, I think we're going to have to shift people around. Yeah, so let's pull everyone off of cranes and let's divert our workforce. Again, temporary measures. Here we go. More thirsty people. Okay, we managed to prevent dehydration that time, so that's good. Just waiting for the end of this storm. Oh, there we go. Yeah, things have reappeared. Back to work, people. Back to work. I'm just trying to understand where all of the, like, piles of stuff are. So I need to move things around. Seems to be centralized over there. The junk boats, we'll get them working on that. It's a matter of priority. I don't know if we really needed 2 wood cranes now, but the wood boat should work on all of this. And of course the fishing boat working on getting all of that. Trying to maintain our supplies of food. Our food's looking really good right now. It's really just trying to reach all of that, so how do we even get there? Can we, like, bastardize any of this? I think it's doable. Okay. Again, not enough water. I fear we are slowly dying, but somehow we've got so much food. What the hell is going on? Maybe we've got too much food production going, and that's taking away the water and the wood that we need. Can we pull people off of all of that? Yeah, because if we do that, maybe we can get other people sort of working on other stuff. Let's see if that sort of balances things out a little bit more for us. Okay. Well, with the trader, we can't do anything. The passing ship, I think we can grab, perhaps, a couple of people. One thing that I might want to do at this stage is I might want to reduce people's water consumption. That could be contributing to the issue. So we've got a couple new workers. You know what? I may have made the wrong decision there. I could have gotten some engineers. But that's okay. I'll use some workers. Where can I use the workers, though? That's a very good question. Maybe I'll just leave them in the huts for now. But with less food production, I'm sort of hoping that that eases our water consumption as well, or at least pads out the water consumption. We're going to be losing a lot more people, though. And I think it's going to happen this time. Wow. Okay. All things considered, guys, and considering where this episode is at, because I feel like I'm going in circles, I might end the series here. It's been a bit of a struggle, not gonna lie. And I sort of was hoping for something like that, because, you know, when we did the first playthrough, I did use green tech, and towards the end, you know, we had heaps of water, well, at least a decent amount of water, and then a decent amount of food as well. Yeah, we're down to 37 people. I feel like we started the episode with this many people, potentially. But yeah, and I feel like maybe green tech is a lot easier than dirty tech. And perhaps maybe there's a little bit of a balancing that still needs to be done on that front by the devs. It's either that, or perhaps maybe I have not really, you know, made the right choices. You could balance a little bit of dirty tech and green tech to perhaps maybe get a really, really good outcome. But yeah, I guess this was, as I said, a more abrasive playthrough where we're polluting and, you know, we're not being as nice. And this is the outcome. People are dying. What comes around goes around, as they say. Oh man, people are dehydrating again. Anyway, I think this is going to be the series for now, guys. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the full release, whenever that's going to be, or perhaps maybe another version of the demo. I would love to be able to see what the other maps are going to be like, because we've always only seen this one map. So anyway, I am signing out here, guys. Hope you enjoyed it as usual. Stay true, and I'll see you guys in another series, I guess. Bye for now.